So since you came forward and told your story, what has life been like for you?
It's been probably the hardest 2 years of my life since the night of the party. I've had significant challenges in pretty much every area of my life, and the fallout has, even my family has been affected by it. I mean, it's as simple as like from losing 39 pounds to having significant, mental challenges, emotional stress. It's just been rough because it was, I felt so blindsided by the whole thing. I was on top of the world, the day before I went to that party. I was doing something that I love to do. I was serving the town that I love. My side time, I'm, active everyday father. I had a good thing going, man, and the trajectory of my career was ultimately I was literally just knocked out. I felt that I could do at least 25 years with my former employer, and there was room for growth there, and I was looking forward to that. It was a part of my life plan. I'm big on structure and planning, and I didn't expect this to happen. So I've learned a lot in the last 2 years. I learned, how ugly people can be, and you learn who your true friends are when times aren't great. So it hasn't been all bad. You gotta learn how to dance in the rain, man. So it's made me stronger overall, but it was not easy. It still isn't. That's why I'm here now. I'm still going through it. I'm a strong person. I'm not giving up by any stretch of the imagination, but I lost something that was near to me, and I'm not gonna say specifically, but I think everyone knows, like, that was a huge part of who I am. Let me rephrase that. It was a huge part of what I am. The problem I had was I had to choose between what I am and who I am, and you always have to choose who you are, because what you are can change, man. I was a proud member of that department for 14 consecutive years, and everything changed because of one person's decision, and I didn't really have the choice that people think that I had. I was a senior man on my crew, but you got a commanding officer. You do what you're told. You go where you're told to go, and that was that.
If you had to do it over again, would you report it?
I ask myself that every day, man. It's like the red pill, blue pill thing. If I had never said anything, I would still be living out my life's plan. But after the incident, I literally stared at the ceiling all night and went back and forth with myself about whether I should say anything, because I knew that there would be a significant response, some positive, but a lot of negative too. But as I lay there, I started thinking about these are my ancestors, even, and I don't mean to make it sound like it's something so old. My dad and my mom, they're both from South Georgia. They were born in the 40s in Georgia. My dad served this city for 40 years, man. He drove the bus for 40 years, getting people back and forth to work and wherever they needed to go. My cousin Dave Jones, was first union president at the bus company. My dad was the second black bus driver hired in this town. You think that was easy? You know, dealing with people like, this was the 60s. We just were being given the rights to, you know, to sit in the front of the bus, you know, let alone drive it. My aunt, she was like the Ruby Bridges of her county in Georgia. She broke the color barrier at her school. You think that was easy for a kid to do? My mom, a couple years ago, I got a house on the beach in Florida, and she kept crying about it. And my son's mom at the time, my lady, kept saying, "Well, you know, what's wrong with your mom? Why is she so emotional about this?" And it was because when she was in high school, she wasn't even allowed on that beach. She couldn't put her toe in the Atlantic Ocean on that beach. There was a specific beach she had to go to because of the color of her skin. So to answer your question, I had to do that, because if they hadn't did what they did, if they hadn't made the sacrifices they made, maybe I don't turn out to be the person that I am. So in order to, and I said something similar in my press conference, in order for my kids to like fight this battle 20 years, 30 years from now, I need to just stand up. It wasn't much of a choice. I had to.
So you don't regret it?
I don't regret it, man. I don't regret it.
What's been the hardest part about this?
The hardest part about this is realizing how I would say the hardest part was realizing how I wasn't as strong as I thought I was. I knew this was going to be a challenge, but a lot more things happened than I expected. And I had moments of darkness and weakness that I didn't even think I was capable of. You know, I thought I was bulletproof before all of this happened. And the lessons I learned as a result, you know, they're really priceless, because, you know, mental health, man, is a huge thing in our country, and a lot of people don't take it serious because you can't see it. Like, you see me in the grocery store thinking, you know, he's fine. I'm fighting a war inside my mind, you know? And so, I kind of don't want to go too much into that, but yeah.
Why did you want to go back and be a firefighter after all of this happened?
Initially, I wanted to. The response from the people above me didn't make me feel welcome. You know, the everyday guys that I work with, most of them, you know, they still love me to this day. But I don't know if it was individuals or if it was just the system or what it was, but I started to feel like I wasn't welcome, and didn't feel comfortable anymore. For example, if I would see one of my former coworkers anywhere in public, it was jubilation. Like, we see each other like, oh my God, hey man, how you doing? You know, whatever. After all of that happened, I felt shame. If I would see somebody from a distance, like, man, I hope they didn't see me. It still feels like that to this day, you know? I feel like I'm out, you know? It's not a normal job, man. Like, these are people that you risk your life with. You spend day and night with, eat with. Our kids know each other. I feel like it almost feels like a divorce, you know, and I'm the one that got kicked out. And it was only because I stood up for what was right. I stood up for my culture. I stood up for my parents, you know. I stood up for what America is, you know, and it's supposed to be equal. Everybody should be, you know, should be treated equally. And what happened the night of that party, that wasn't fair. It wasn't fair to me, you know. So to answer your question, for a long time I did want to go back. I dream about it every night, you know, and I just don't think that I'm fit for it anymore because the trust is gone. And in a job like that, if you don't have trust, man, you're a danger to yourself, danger to the community and the people that depend on you to be sharp.
Has the settlement brought any relief?
Honestly, it's brought a bit more stress because of how public it is, and I expected it, but you know, it's hard to go anywhere. You know, I went restaurants, the bank, you know, grocery store. I can't go anywhere without, you know, someone saying something to me about it. And you know, most people mean well, you know, but a lot of times people think that a bit of money fixes everything. It doesn't. And I'm not trying to insult people that don't have access to, you know, the type of, you know, settlement that I received. But, you know, I took a significant loss, man, you know, financially, emotionally, like, you know, right down the line. So the relief that I do feel is because it's over. Like there's, like this, that's why I wanted to have this talk with you, is because this is like me being able to say what I wanted to say, and like that, just closing that chapter of my life. Even though I'll always miss it, but that's the only bit of closure I know, is that progress. Like I can progress from here. I know I'm starting to go back in the right direction. So, you know, do I feel like it was fair? I guess so. You know, but I'll never be able to replace what I had, you know, in so many ways that I just don't even have the time to explain to you. And no amount of money can replace the relationships, the connection with the community. You know, for 4 years, man, I was the front guy for my employer. Like, they sent me out to represent them, you know, to teach kids fire safety, to, you know, represent them at festivals and, you know, anything you can imagine. So it's not easy to just have that just taken away. So, you know, unfairly is what I feel, you know, because I didn't ask to be put in that situation.
Especially for someone, like you said, as structured as you are, you had set milestones up for yourself, and
Yeah.
you had a trajectory. The folks who hosted that party, they're still maintaining that this was not intended to be racist. The Juneteenth sign, they say, was small. The Kentucky Fried Chicken was part of a larger meal. The cognac perhaps brought in by someone else. And though it may look like that, they're still out there saying this was not a racist party. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, first of all, I know what I saw, and I'm a pretty intelligent dude. I know my history. I know what the intent was. They were making a mockery of an American holiday that Black people specifically in this country hold near and dear and sacred. Like, I'm 4 generations removed from emancipation. My dad was born in 1942. My granddad had him at 49. He was born in 1892. My great-grandfather, some people know their great-grandfather. My granddad was dead for over a decade before I was even born. My great-grandfather, we don't have his exact birthday, but we believe he was free during the emancipation. So for someone with a history like that, to try to gaslight me into thinking that there's something wrong with me for speaking out against what I saw with my own two eyes. And I remember it vividly like it was yesterday. I remember the faces, I remember the names. I'm not an idiot, man. You know, and furthermore, they had a press conference, and everybody saw that. And the internet is forever. People can do their research, you know. Honestly, when I realized what was happening, Adam, I was in a state of shock. Like when I really put it all together, it's like everything slowed down. I had to find somewhere to land. Like I was standing. When I started piecing everything, like one Juneteenth flag, all right, you know, whatever. Fried chicken is, all right, now my antennas are up. Hennessy bottles start coming out. All right, let me take a look at everything. And I panned everything, and my body language changed. My blood started boiling, but I'm like, listen, I'm wearing this uniform. I'm not gonna be disrespectful. I'm gonna continue to be courteous, but I'm a human being, so my body language changed. I had to sit down and gather my thoughts, and I started feeling like people noticed it, because they started, all of a sudden, people had all this interest in me and started coming around me, asking me questions about my political views and all that kind of stuff. And so I had to get myself together because I didn't want to sound any alarms, basically, until I could just get out of there. But Adam, I know what I saw, man. You know, honestly, I'm still, 2 years later, I can start to kind of joke about it a little bit now. I told my attorney this morning, I said, I'm still waiting on a check from Jordan Peele because I didn't know I was going to be the black guy in the opening scene of Get Out Part 2. Like it was that creepy. And you know what, man? If whatever they're into, that's fine. That's their right, honestly. But to have me there on duty in my uniform, it was devastatingly embarrassing. And to have the person that is in charge of me, my commanding officer, not recognize that moment and see, you know, how hurtful this could be to me. This is somebody that I'm supposed to depend on to make decisions that could be life or death for me, but you can't tell that right now I'm being humiliated. How can I trust you to with my life, man? You know, like I wouldn't think twice about running into certain death to save somebody in my crew, man. Like that's how in I am. And to know that they're not even smart enough to recognize that moment and didn't even care after when I made it known, I can't go back to that, man. And I don't want to make it seem like that's everybody, because it's not. But it only takes one bad apple, man, and if you don't pick it out, it could end up ruining everything. So, yeah.
What else do you want people to know besides what we've already talked about?
For the people that have gone through similar situations, and, you know, for the most part, mine was a one-time event. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some things in the culture that could change. A lot of it is ignorance. Some of it's willful ignorance, but a lot of it is ignorance. And that's why I think it's so important for me to be here today and to speak on these things, because, man, we got to have these tough conversations, man, or nothing is going to change. You know, I've changed my views on things because I saw how it affected the people that I care about. You know, I'm not going to get specific, but opinions can change, man, and that's how people can progress. People are so afraid of change that it's ridiculous. So that's one of the reasons why I'm here today is, you know, there's other people out there that are going through more egregious things than I am. But if Nate and I hadn't done what we did, you may not even have heard about my case. You know, unfortunately, we had to do that press conference. We had to put a huge dollar amount on it, or it may not have even been newsworthy, because there's things out there that are going on that are worse that people don't even know about. So to those people, I want to say continue to be strong. Never choose your what over your who. If you're going to do it, just know that it's not going to be easy. You need to fortify yourself mentally, emotionally. Your family needs to as well, financially, because it's like going to war. Fighting for what's right has never been easy. But you know what, man? MLK was considered a troublemaker. We adopted Frederick Douglass into this town. We named our airport after him, our bridge after him. We just got statues all over, but we're having a problem, it seems, to capture the essence of the man and insert it into our culture. So I think that there's a lot that can be learned from everything that happened. People can change. We need to learn how to forgive. But for those people out there that just want to continue to judge people and tell them what they can and can't feel about things that affect them personally, it's just not fair. It's not fair to be that way, because everybody has something that means something to them, and you don't want someone telling you how offended you can be about something as serious as Juneteenth, man. It means a lot to me.